Hi, I'm Ailbhe McDonagh. In this video, we will be learning our approach to vibrato. So what is vibrato? When we play an open string, you will see the string itself. Let's try the C string. You can see it vibrating and it resonates. So vibrato itself is something that we do on a note in the left hand to help the sound sing more and resonate more. So often it helps the sound become bigger, more fluid. It can change the color of sounds. And it adds a sort of luxurious sound, something that can be very romantic in feel. So of course we don't use too much of it in the Baroque music, in the Baroque era, and maybe a touch in the classical. As we go later and later, we use a lot more luscious vibrato. So when I'm approaching vibrato, I want everyone to think about the vibrato going and opening directly from the elbow. So when we talked initially about, say for example, first position, we talked about having a C shape, and we talked about having the elbow just nicely floating in the air. So it's not down, it's floating in the air as if you have a balloon or you're sitting in a cloud. So that idea, candy floss. Something very, very light. So then as we vibrate, what we're doing is we're opening directly from the elbow. Often people make the mistake of trying to do this from the wrist, which is a very uncomfortable position and does not end very well in vibrato. So the first thing to remember is that we always have just one motion, which is happening from the elbow. So when my elbow is here, let's say I do some vibrato, just to have a little look before we get into how we approach it. You can see here that my elbow never moves. Everything opens just directly from the elbow. So we don't have any moving up and down like this. There's no wrist movement, no finger turning like this. It's all just a rotation at the opening of the elbow. Very important. Okay? Doesn't matter what finger you're doing. That's exactly the way it works. So, first of all, I ask people to do a little exercise called turning the door handle. So, of course, this is not what we do in the cello because we have a straight arm. But when we turn the door handle, this is one of those olden door handles where you turn the knob like this. You can see that everything is coming straight from my elbow. So that's the motion we want to think about eventually when we're on the cello. So just keep that in mind, that it's all coming from the elbow. And then the next step is to put your finger, let's say we put your second finger on the middle, on the black, not on one of the strings, but just on the black of the fingerboard. So I like to put it in between the D and the G string. And what we're going to do is we're going to open out like this, as if we're polishing the fingerboard. So you can see I just have my second finger there. It's going back and forth. Have a look at my elbow. That elbow is staying in the same place. Yeah, it's not moving or bobbing up and down. It's just in its usual position and we are opening out. Okay. So of course, this is not like the door handle that we just did. And the door handle is just to remind us that when finally we plant the finger, that the movement is still just opening from the elbow. Great. So we'll try it on all fingers. So back in we go. And we're going to try it with our first finger. Very, very good. Now, when we're doing the third and the fourth finger, they need a little more support. So what we do when we're playing the third finger is we put the second finger behind it and still use this motion, polishing the fingerboard. See my elbow? It's still in the same position. It's all very loose. I'm barely putting any weight on the fingerboard. It's just opening in a very wide fashion, okay? And then the fourth finger also has one finger behind just for support. So here we are opening. Now just to be very specific about where the thumb is, it's still in its C shape, always, no matter what finger you're vibrating. It's directly across, it's not pointing up to the ceiling. So that should be part of your practice, that as you're doing this, that the thumb is still a support. It's not pressing upwards, but it's there for support, okay? So just to recap, our first finger and our second finger we vibrate and polish all on their own. The third and fourth, you can see they need one finger behind for support. Now, maybe at a more advanced level, we might have those on their own. They might be strong enough to vibrate on their own, but it's good practice to start like this from the beginning with your vibrato. So then the very next thing to do is make it a little bit smaller. So after you've spent a couple of weeks polishing the fingerboard, this is not a fast process. So I like to think about vibrato over maybe a 6-month period. So there's nothing worse than starting vibrato and then getting a very tense, pressing vibrato that you can't undo. So if you can at all, really take this process slowly and just make sure that everything feels very relaxed as we do it, okay? So you could spend a week or 2 weeks practicing that polishing the string in the large way like that. Now we're going to try the same process, but just a little bit smaller. So imagine it's 1 inch or 2 centimeters. So it's the same feeling. And sometimes I like to go small and then big, just to remind myself of the free movement, and then back to small again, and then big. I'll try it on my second finger, just on its own. Small. So you can see again my elbow is staying in the same position and I'm opening out only at that. Nothing else is moving along here. No wrist, no fingers, just from the elbow. And then big, small, medium, small. Okay. So you can see the movement is getting much closer to what vibrato will be. Third finger. Now, if you can, you want to keep all the other fingers slightly close to the fingerboard. So smaller, 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 still not much weight at all on anything. We're just polishing here. And again, try to avoid having any other fingers spreading out with tension. You want to keep them in almost a playing ready position. Okay? And then the fourth finger, small, small, small. Okay? So this is very, very good. Now the next stage to add is to play the open C string. So this has nothing to do with the left hand and what you're doing currently. So let's try the first finger. And it's super light in the left hand. Super light, we're opening at the elbow, everything feels glorious. And now I want you to pull. So this is quite funny. It's sort of like that thing where you tap your head and rub your belly at the same time. We want to have a very weighty right hand at the same speed and the same weight. And that, as I said, feels very weighty, but then the left hand feels very, very light and floaty. So that's quite unusual to be doing two very different feelings in your two hands. So you spend quite a while doing that. Small. You can do big if you want. I'm going to do the third finger. So for me, I'm definitely thinking a little bit weightier here, a little bit lighter there. Okay? So this is all very, very exciting because we're getting very close to our vibrato. In the next video about vibrato, we will discuss how to plant your finger and then, of course, get the bow onto the same string as the finger that's playing. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please feel free to leave any comments or questions below.